Welcome back to the Daily Dose of Recovery. I am your host, Mr. J. Bernard, and we are excited this week to have the great and talented Brooke Robichaud. Did I say that right? Brooke Robichaud. Maybe. She is Sober Biz Co. out there in Port Coquitlam, BC. Did I say that right? I don't think so either. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but she'll tell you the words when she gets here. Brooke has been a phenomenal part to a couple amazing things. One, really helping me live out my dreams as putting together the platform with Empowered to Recover Foundation. Say that quick, Brooke, really quick. So she was really the person that found the name for us. That is absolutely correct. She did. But she also helped me launch Hype Recovery. And Brooke, I am so happy to have you on our show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. And you were so close. It's Brooke Robichaud. The D is silent. And I'm in Port Moody, which is very close to Port Coquitlam. You're getting really almost there.
Port Moody and Robichaud. Anyways, you are Sober Biz Co. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about Sober Biz Co. And then some tips, tricks, and solutions to your recovery. I do believe you are into the year 7. Is that correct? Year 7. You're sitting at year 7 in recovery.
7.5. Thank you very much.
Don't forget that half. We don't forget the half. And yeah, so if you can just tell us a little bit about your background. I know you've dealt with some grief. I know you've gone through a lot because you and I are pretty close when it comes to all of this stuff. So I know that you got a phenomenal story you've shared on our platform, our non-for-profit. You are the media person. You do all the logos. You've done all the website stuff. And you just have a really powerful voice when it comes to a female in recovery. So I'm like massively proud of you. So yeah, let's hear some tips, tricks, and solution. Who's Brooke Robichaud?
No D.
Robichaud! Let her rip, Brooke.
Thank you so much, Jay. Yeah. I guess I'll start a little bit about my business. In 2021, I founded the Sober Biz Collective as a space to start helping sober entrepreneurs live out their dreams, because that is one of the things that have helped me stay sober, is making recovery and sobriety my lifestyle. And it completely changed my life. I felt like a totally different person after finding recovery. And like, God willing, in August, I'll have 8 years, which is like insane to me. My whole identity was around drinking. I hosted karaoke. I DJ'd at strip clubs. I did anything I could to work in bars and party all the time and find ways to drink for free. Like that was my whole identity. So when I got sober, I made sobriety my whole identity. And, I got connected with the sober community right away. Some really hard things happened pretty much like as soon as I got sober. Right at 2 months, I lost a family member really horrifically. And I remember picking up the phone, calling these women in this community that I had joined and just being like, I can drink now, right? Like, people don't stay sober through things like this. Nobody would stay sober through something like this. So I can drink. And all of those women said, no, you can get through this sober. I promise you, just lay your head down sober tonight, wake up sober tomorrow, make your bed, do a prayer, call me in the morning, but just don't pick up a drink. And I did not think that was possible up until this point in my life, but I did go to bed that night sober. I woke up sober and literally something changed in my soul. I was like, oh my God, like, you can get through things sober. You don't need to drink over stuff like this. Like, it was seriously a completely foreign concept to me. And yeah, my recovery journey was full of highs and lows. I went on my first plane ride sober, went to Mexico, went to an all-inclusive resort at 4 months sober. And yeah. And
all inclusive at 4 months, like that's commendable, because a lot of people wouldn't do that. I mean, I do that as well, but good on you for stepping outside of the box and going, right?
yeah. Well, I was nervous because I didn't know what to expect, but I'm kind of grateful that I had never traveled prior to being sober. So I didn't really have anything to compare it to. And it just so happened that somebody in one of my women's groups that I went to was at the resort the same week that I was there. They came a day later and they were in the exact same resort. Like, 4 doors down from us. So I had like somebody there that I could talk to. But it was hard. It was amazing and incredible, but it was like a new experience in sobriety. And when you're not drinking, you're feeling, all these things I used to drink over so I didn't have to feel are coming up and out, and insecurities and all kinds of things. But I was also on a ridiculously extreme weight loss program at the time too. So I'm like not eating sugar, not eating fat, not drinking at an all-inclusive resort. That's all you can eat. you know? It was just insanity. And then I turned 30 sober and had a prom party. We like put balloons up to do photos with. I had like a book for people to sign called a yearbook. I mean,
That's creative. That's pretty that's so this first little shot of God here from what I hear is like you were really trying to introduce fun into your recovery without the use of whatever substance it was you were using, but still dealing with your unresolved trauma that really led you to use what you used, right? So you're trying to take care of your unresolved trauma. Then you're trying to change Brooke like 100 different ways, from the weight loss to the I'm going to get myself into this recovery thing to I'm going to try and have fun. And, then I'm going to try and have this lifestyle that's called recovery.
yeah, well, I was determined to still enjoy my life. Like I wasn't going to let people tell me I couldn't go to karaoke anymore or like do the things that I enjoyed. I really wanted to like still be who I was, but just take out the alcohol. And honestly, that didn't work. I did it for a while and I kept trying to do it, but I just started to change. Like you just change when you get sober and you're working on yourself, and suddenly the people around you, you're like, "Oh, this really isn't that fun. Nobody here is actually enjoying their life. This is kind of low vibe." And so slowly I started like navigating my life away from those things, but it wasn't like as soon as I got sober, I'm like, I'm not gonna, I have to keep myself away from the bars. I have to keep myself away from this. I was like trying to still fit myself in those places. Um, and like, so I turned 30 sober. I had my bachelorette party sober. I got married sober. Like all these incredible things happened in the first 2 years of my recovery, and got pregnant with my daughter. And I had like 4 little brothers and 2 sons. So I was like so excited to have a little girl. And then things got really hard and I dealt with postpartum depression. Then my husband's dad found out he had cancer. Um, the pandemic happened right after that. So he was going through chemo. We found out in January he was going through chemo treatments, and then March, everything shut down and we can't even be there for him. So that was very scary. And then I lost my little brother to this disease in August of 2020. And it was just like the most devastating thing I've ever been through in my life. It was like 2 weeks after I celebrated 4 years. We lost my brother, who my brothers are like my kids. Like I raised them growing up, and I just like really truly believed that my higher power got me into recovery and got me sober because I was going to save my brother from having to go through that life, right? So that was earth shattering. And through that process, I had been sharing about recovery online and had started a podcast and had been really being an advocate for sobriety. But then that became really, really difficult, like showing up and hearing about people coming back from overdoses and coming back from like the depths of hell and getting a chance to recover and recovering and doing these amazing things with their lives. Like I got to, I was getting really angry at that because why didn't my brother get that chance? He was only 23 years old. He had just had 2 days sober the last time I saw him because we were celebrating my 4 years and my son, his birthday's at the same time. So we were having like a birthday party, sobriety party. My brother was there. He had 2 days sober. He'd started going to meetings. His girlfriend was in recovery. I thought I had so much relief. I was like, this is it. He's going to get it. Right. And everything's going to be okay. And this is why God brought me here. And so like that just shattered me completely. And I've had to rebuild my recovery from that point on. But that's also what kind of pushed me into starting my business, because I was having a really hard time holding space for people to share their stories. I was like, let me help the people who want to do this work. I want to help them. I want to help them set up their businesses so that they can thrive and they can share the stories. And I can do what I'm good at, which is building websites and putting together promotional materials and like helping see the big picture and like guide them. and start these businesses. And I had no business doing that. Like I was so the only thing I'd ever had in terms of experiences was starting my own businesses and my own projects. But because I had done that, people came to me and they're like, who did your website? Who did your graphics? Who's doing your social media? And I was like, oh, I'm doing that. And then they started asking me for help. So this business was created and now like I'm getting to help people. And I just feel like that helps me make such a bigger impact than just doing it on my own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's kind of like that's kind of like where you and I connected, right? Like you and
Yeah.
I connected on good old tickety talk, and that's kind of where our relationship kindled, and that's where I think this August is like 3 years, maybe longer that we've known each other, um,
Yeah.
which is phenomenal that somebody stuck around this long with me. But yeah, me and you meet. We have this. I have this dream. You help me push out this dream, and then we launch E2R. So why don't you just talk a little bit about E2R, and then finish it off with your superpower recovery, and something really uh, juicy and good for people that are just trying to get into
Mm.
recovery.
Okay. So empowered to recover is like, I honestly feel just my higher power. I believe in a higher power. Like that's what helps me get sober. I've had a really on and off relationship with this higher power of mine, but I know there's something there. It's bigger than me and I can feel it, the guidance in my life. And empowered to recover is one of those things because one of the things that happened when I was in postpartum depression and I was on bed rest pregnant with my daughter is I felt absolutely useless. And I had been someone that was like showing up in the recovery community, helping people get sober, helping people get healthy, helping people lose weight. And here I am suffering in food addiction again, not able to get out of bed. I can't get to meetings. I can't get like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm miserable. You know what I mean? And so I had prayed for a purpose. Like, what am I here to do? And I was taking a shower. That's where I like to pray and meditate. And I heard like clear as I don't know if it was God or delusion or what, but I heard your story, my glory. And I just got so lit up and so excited. And I was like, okay, I'm here to share a story and, show that the glory of the universe of whatever is out here and how powerful and amazing it can be to transform your life. So I had my mission. I didn't really know what that was going to turn out to be. I wanted to write a book. I ended up starting a podcast. Like all, that fell apart in a really dramatic way. And like I did all of these things to to kind of figure out like what is this purpose? Like how am I supposed to execute this? And then Empower to Recover comes along. After I'd lost my brother, and that was another time where I'd prayed. First I prayed for him to wake up. I got there before they took him away, and I was like, I just believed so hard that my higher power could do miracles and do anything. And I really believed he was going to wake up. I was like, God, get him up, give us one more chance. We can do this. He can have a good life. Like, please, you can do anything. You can do miracles. Wake him up, wake him up, wake him up. And when that wasn't going to happen and they were about to take him away, I started praying, I'm like, God, just let his story save lives. Let his story save lives. Let his story save lives. And I just kept doing that to try and bring some meaning to this like horrible, devastating thing. So I could stay connected to like one little bit that could keep me going. And then Empower to Recover comes like a year later, and I got on the stage for the first time and I'm sharing about my brother and I'm watching people in the audience crying and I'm seeing the impact that this story is making, and hearing messages from people saying like, thank you for sharing that, this is helping me get through this with my family. um I get messages after sharing his story like, I'm not going to pick up today, thank you for sharing that. And it's like his story is saving lives and that prayer is coming true through this platform, right? And so it takes like, it's been almost 4 years. August will be 4 years since I lost my brother, and it's a battle. Like, grief is hard. I could still cry at any moment. Like, I feel myself getting choked up just talking about it now. But one thing with recovery and going through this stuff sober is I'm not afraid to feel anymore. I'm not scared of feeling. I'm not scared of crying. We've been in business meetings with Jay before, and we're like, dealing with something heavy. This mission with Empower to Recover, with DDR, like sharing about recovery online. This is heavy. This is soulful work. This is powerful work. There's going to be triggers and emotions that come up doing this, right? And we've been on business meetings where I'm just like sobbing like a baby. I'm showing up to events after feeling like I'm going to puke because I'm having a panic attack because I'm just so having an emotional hangover from like coming up with things to share about around grief and recovery. And yeah, so like not being afraid of your feelings is a superpower for me. Like to be able to laugh through tears and just experience what life has to offer me without having to hide from it, without having to run from it. And then also being able to share that with other people is just so, so powerful. So I think that in terms of my recovery superpower, it's feeling that's my superpower. And if you're wanting to get sober and you're scared and you don't know what it's going to mean and you think your life's going to change and you just feel like you can't do it, like reach out and ask one person for help. Like I know Jay would get on a call with you in a second and like, talk to you. Um, Connection is the cure, 100%. Those ladies that I called when I was struggling and didn't think I could stay sober that night saved my goddamn life. Like honestly, just picking up the phone and calling them saved my life. And it was so simple and it was absolutely life changing and transformational.
Love is medicine. Love is medicine. And that is the great and talented Miss Brooke from Sober Biz Co. Where can they find you if they want to find you on social media? Where can they go?
Absolutely. So if you want to connect with my business and all the things we're doing, actually, I've got really exciting stuff coming up for sober entrepreneurs to get connected with each other at soberbizco.com. We just launched our first networking event called the Summer Sober Social. So it's going to be an in-person event. We've got an incredible workshop that's going to happen around marketing. We have a speaker that's going to come talk about using influencers in your marketing. And then we're going to have fun, drink mocktails at Bevy's. I cannot wait. So we're going to be doing some online workshops and stuff as well. So please connect there. I'd love to meet sober entrepreneurs. And me personally, you can connect with me at Sober Lifestyle on all platforms. I've been dabbling in comedy. So if you want to know way too much about me, you can check me out there.
Yeah, Brooke has a lot of talents, and she is a phenomenal person. She does has hosted a couple events with us. We are looking to go back to BC in 2025, which is massively exciting for our second event for the Empower to Recover Foundation. If you're looking to see where we're going to hit next, head over to our website, www.empowertorecover.com. That's www.empowertorecover.com. I am the Hype Man, and this is DDR. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next episode. Thank you. Bye, Brooke.
Bye.